Hey, good morning, guys. This is Mr. C. I'm going to teach you a little bit of how to find the factors easily in an organized way. If you have a hard time figuring that part out, which is pretty important to factoring polynomials, and you should have seen Mr. Nakauchi's video by now, watch that first and then watch this video to help you out a little bit better. So we know that he used the Xbox method where this is A times C and this is B. And in this case, this is your A term, this is your B term, and this is your C term. So when he says A times C, it means multiply these two together. You end up with positive 14, and then your B term down there is positive 15, right? So you need to find two numbers that multiply to 14 but add up or subtract to 15. So in order to do that, we're first going to go ahead and find all the multiples of 14 that we can. So mentally, this is what you got to do. You got to say, okay, I'm going to try to find all the combinations that I can for 14. Well, positive 14, positive 1, positive 14. It works. Positive 2, positive 7. Very good. Does positive 3 work? 3 doesn't go into 14. Does positive 4? No, it doesn't work. Positive 5? No. Positive 6? No. Positive 7? Yes, it does. But what's so special about positive 7? It already shows up on the other side. And if you do that organized way, in an organized fashion, then you don't have to guess whether you went through all the possibilities or not. It's right there. Now, the other possibility is negative 1, negative 14, negative 2, negative 7. These are your possibilities, right? To multiply to positive 14. They all do. But only one combination adds up to 15 at the same time. Okay, so it has to both multiply to 14 but add up to 15. So let's see which one does. Okay, so these two add up to positive 15. Great, that's the combination that we want. So we can stop right there, but I just want to show you what happens in the other ones. They add up to 9, they add up to negative 15, and they add up to negative 9. So only one combination fulfills both the positive 14 multiplication and adding to 15. And now that's nice and easy because everything was positive in that case, right? All the terms, this was positive, this was positive, this was positive. So you knew that everything was going to be positive. What gets complicated is when things get negative, all right? Like when you get a negative involved, that's when things get a little bit more difficult. So in his next example, Mr. Nakauchi used this problem, 3x squared minus 11x minus 8, all right? Now check this out here. Again, we have A times C, which is right here, and then B term, right? So what does that mean? We're going to put 3 times 8 is negative 24. Did you notice that? And then the negative 11. Now we got some negatives involved, and this is where it gets a little bit crazy, okay? So we still got to find this combination, right, of two numbers that multiply to negative 24 but add up to negative 11. So I'm going to make that t-chart, and I'm going to go ahead and try to think of all the negative 24s. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to give you a little shortcut as to how you know which one is negative and which one is positive. The small factor is going to be on the left side. The big factor is going to be on the right side. Now, the big factor is always the same as the B term right here. So I'm going to highlight this. These two are always the same, okay, no matter what. So that gives you a little bit of a hint as to what you're going to put as your options on this side. The big factors are going to be negative. And then you're going to think, well, negative times something gives me negative. Well, where is that something? Well, the only combination is positive. Positive times negative gives you negative. So that means that this side is going to be all positive numbers. All right? So you don't have to guess on that because otherwise you're going to have to do this twice, right? With possibility of negatives here and positives here. And to save you time and a headache, I tell my students to do this system right here. And if you know one of them, then you can find out the other one based upon the combination that you need to find. Okay? So then we can get rid of all this because we know we're not going to need it. The bigger factor is not going to be that. So you just go 1 through 24. Okay, does 2 work? Yes, it does. 12. Does 3 work? Yes, it does. Times 8. Does 4 work? Yes, it does. Times 6. Does 5 work? No, it doesn't. Does 6 work? Yes, it does. But what's so special about 6 is it already showed up. And so then I know I don't need to do that one again. Okay, so these are all our possibilities. Then we're going to go ahead and add them up because we know that all multiply to negative 12, but we're looking for negative 11. Which one gives me negative 11? Well, the first one gives me negative 23. The second one gives me negative 11. Aha, that's the combination we want, right? This one gives me, just for kicks, this one gives me negative 5. And this one gives me negative 2, right? So you don't need to go through all of them. You can find it easily, okay, just by going through the motions. So again, let me break that down for you in a way that you can just have it and from here on out, and you can use it all the time. So you're just going to have 4 possible situations. Okay, 4 possible situations. Now in all of these, this is going to be A times C, A times C, A times C, A times C. And this is going to be your B term, your B term, your B term, your B term. Okay, so you don't got to worry about that. This is going to be your small factor. This is going to be your big factor, right? Small factor, big factor, small factor, big factor, small factor, big factor. Okay, there's only 4 combinations that you can do, right? And I'm going to teach you those right now. If this combination is positive and this is positive, then everything is positive. Great. But if the B is negative, then this one is also negative, and negative times negative gives you positive. Okay? If these are negative and this is positive, then the big factor is positive because they're always the same, right? These are always the same. And then you think positive times negative gives me a negative, right? And if this combination is negative and this is also negative, then my big factor is also negative because these are always the same. And negative times positive gives me a positive. So again, when you're making your t-chart on each and every single one of these, right? If this is positive and everything is positive, all your combinations are going to be positive. But in this case, you're looking for 2 negative numbers, right? In this case, is negative and your small factor is negative and your big factor is positive, right? And in this situation, your big factor, your small factor is positive and your big factor is negative. And these are the only 4 situations you got to worry about. Okay, you don't got to worry about anything else. But if you keep this in mind, it's a little more mechanical for those of you that get confused as to which one is positive and which is negative. Okay, and just to give you an example, once again, he did one that was like x squared minus x minus 6, a times c, and this is b, right? This is negative 6, and this is negative 1. So my big factor is negative. My small factor is positive. Okay, and then I'm looking for negative, and this is going to be positive, positive, negative, negative. I don't have to worry about that. And so then I just try 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Those are the only ones. And I know that all of them are going to give me the negative that I want. And in this case, it's going to be 5, and in this case, it's going to be 1. So this is combination that I want, right? So keep this around. It makes it really simple and straightforward. Practice. You got to see this over and over again, all right? Meanwhile, I'm going to go and fly. Peace out.